Good evening, Rethink Your Health fans and viewers tonight. Um, I know that so many of you were on board last week as we began a conversation with Dr. Liz Bolen from the Bolen Health Institute, and we had some audio problems. This week, however, we have been just sitting for an hour and a half, making sure that everything was working to bring you what I think is one of the most amazing new views of wellness. And it's time, right? I mean, we've been through 3 or 4 years now, 3 years since COVID, 4 years since we felt kind of the breaking down of the United States. There's just been so many issues. And so many of us are absolutely living in chaos. And one of the things that excited me most about what Liz Bolen does is she transforms chaos into wellness. When you feel overwhelmed, her guarantee to you is that you will find a place of balance. There is no other practitioner that I have talked to in recent years that guarantees me a peace of mind through working with them. So tonight I welcome Dr. Liz Bolen, and she will talk a lot about her credentials, but more importantly, she will talk about this approach to wellness, this energistic, almost alchemical approach to wellness that is based in principle on quantum science. So welcome, Liz Bolen, to Rethink Your Health. How are you today?
I'm doing really good, and I'm really excited to be here. This makes me
Good.
happy to speak about this and share it with everyone.
Now, I know that last week we shared your website online, and I'm going to put it up right from the very beginning so that people can go and play a little bit. But, you know, your website is geared towards the concept of a new type of wellness that you can provide to individuals that are not practicing either doctors or nurses, but also your commitment to changing the art and the science of healthcare by using different modalities. I guess I really want to ask you tonight where your passion is right now. What's your biggest hope to talk about tonight, to reach us as your listeners?
My biggest hope for today is that you guys get to come and experience what integrative mind-body medicine is and what quantum medicine is. Those kind of terms are interchangeable. And to really get a better understanding of practitioners who have stepped forward and stepped up to up-level their entire practice are doing with people. I want you guys to ask all your questions. I want to explain what that is, the steps to move forward if that is your path,
Mm-hmm.
and how the four bodies approach is transforming healthcare, even guaranteeing our results. And I want to go
It's interesting. When I first wanted to talk to you,
through.
we did it through LinkedIn, and you really were a very odd bird because you said, "Well, we'll interview first." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what does it mean to interview with a doctor? And what does that mean?" And can you talk a little bit about what kind of patients you do take, or what kind of healthcare providers you want to work with?
So I kind of have two streams. Sometimes they intertwine, other times they're separate. So working with me one-on-one in my private practice requires an interview. It requires an interview to show me that you're actually willing to do what it takes to become healthy. Now, in my private practice, I view health as a strategy. So disease is a strategy that is getting a need met in a very shadow or a very unhealthy way.
So
So
let me underscore that again. When we get sick, it is a cry to nature and to others that we need help, but it's an unhealthy way to ask for help. Okay.
yes, your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind is sending you a message. And it wants to make sure that you are getting better and you're paying attention.
Hmm.
And it's getting a valid need met in an unhealthy way. Now,
Wow.
that's a huge paradigm shift for a lot of practitioners. I know it was a big paradigm shift when I learned it. And when I'm taking someone on one-on-one, I am getting down into the actual trenches with them. I am going to guide them through so they know how to actually step forward and know what healthy is for them, what happy, healthy, wealthy, and thriving is for them. And my results are guaranteed in writing. So in order for me, oh, did you have something
Wow.
to say? Yes.
Stop. Your results are guaranteed in writing. So you work with people. Okay. So first of all, what are your credentials? You're a naturopath?
I'm a naturopathic doctor
Okay.
practicing in Ontario, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I branched into integrative quantum medicine when I became a neurolinguistic programming trainer, a timeline therapy trainer, or create your future processes trainer, a hypnotherapist trainer, and an NLP results coach trainer. And
What's
all
NLP? Is that
NLP,
neurolinguistic?
yeah, neurolinguistic programming.
Okay.
And all of those trainer levels allowed me to open up my internationally accredited institute, health institute.
Wonderful. Okay. So you have lots of initials and lots of experience and lots of certifications. But what you're saying to me is that you want to work with individuals that are willing to accept disease and illness and pain as their mind, their kind of their energy, telling them they need something in their life. And you are going to help them do the work that releases the pain and illness and helps them find what they need. Did I say that right?
Yes. So I will take someone who is willing to get over their illness. Because a lot of the time, people come in and their identity is wrapped up in their illness. And that's a valid stage of healing. That's not the stage I'm going to take on in my private practice.
Hmm.
That's the stage where I refer to other healthcare providers because they need to do a little healing before they're ready for me. Health and identity kind of go hand in hand. So they must be willing to get over their disease and their illness, which typically means that they must be willing to redefine who they are and step forward in a different way so they can be transformed.
So in many ways, it's personal development work in as
Yes.
well as healthcare. All right. So let me ask you. Let's ask the more traditional things. You've mentioned that you use hypnotherapy.
Yes.
I see, and I'm going to stop right now. Go to this website right here, which I just had up, which is Bolen, Bolen, healthinstitute.com. And here's actually the website. Go there and do me a favor. You can go to her special offer. And in that special offer, you can get a complimentary, what do you call it? Hypno, hypnotherapy.
So,
Explain it.
okay. So if you go to the trainings at the top, there's a little
Hmm.
trainings tab.
Yes.
And you press on that, you're going to see hypnotic acupressure. And hypnotic acupressure is my love child of my tool belt. I name two of the modalities I layer in there, but I put in everything I got.
Hmm.
And this
Hmm.
is an integrative mind body medicine technique that I developed that helps to align the body and install the behaviors that are going to make your life so much easier. And every week is different. I record them all. And whoever shows up for what they need that day. I put that out to the quantum and the people come into it. And it is a complimentary dipping your toe into, first of all, being taken care of, because healthcare providers are the first people to put themselves in the back burner. I get to take care of my healthcare providers. And you get to experience what quantum medicine can do and how quickly you can start seeing results and changes. Because that part, how quick it happens, is mind blowing. And it's faster than you think can actually happen.
And so it is truly, and Leanne Meyer just had a question, which was, you mentioned two types of patients. So one is the healthcare provider and the other is the consumer. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And both of those can experience your 30-minute free acupressure hypnotherapy
They're
experience.
actually an hour. It's an hour-long
It's an
experience. And
hour?
it's an hour. You get an hour with me where you guys get taken care of. And yes, it is for anyone and everyone who wants to come experience it.
Fascinating. So listen, folks, I'm going to go ahead and put her banner up again. You need to go on there and schedule this because I have an amazing feeling about Dr. Liz. I looked at some of your literature. You are taking what the world is slowly but surely proving in scientific, placebo, double-blinded research that works. We know that hypnotherapy works, but we're also hearing a lot about neurolinguistic programming. And that is a key part of your practice and what you train nurses and providers to also practice. Can you give us some background? What is neurolinguistic programming?
Neurolinguistic programming, as you said, is one of the backbones and pillars that will create new neural networks in the body. So you're going to talk about neuro, which actually has to do with building new baby brain cells. It has to do with crossing both hemispheres of your brain and increasing neuroplasticity. Then we have the linguistics portion, and we all know that words are important. What most people don't know is that your words describe the reality you are living, and they will create it. So you learn to expertly pick up on their model of the world or how they are experiencing their life. And you learn to go in and help them expand it. And then programming is working with human consciousness to program them in a way that serves them and change the strategies they're running that no longer serve their life so they can move forward in their next phase. So
Wow.
NLP is a very powerful technique.
And that's where we get into the whole cosmic aspect of what you do. And you use, and I love it, I've never seen this used before. You use magic. There is magic in healthcare. And I had fourth stage cancer and I had oncologists that used the word miracle as you use magic. And they would often talk about how faith and the power of the words you use to address your cancer in your body can make a real difference in the therapy. And those were just regular oncologists out of, major teaching hospitals that I consulted in my journey. But you go one step further. I remember when I was interviewing you to work with you on this podcast, we talked about cancer. And you talked about this quantic approach to cancer, which essentially transmutates cancer cells into a healthy body. That's mind blowing, right? And probably 10 years ago, I wouldn't have felt comfortable saying, you are a scientific guru because people are proving this. But talk to me about that. Talk to me about your thoughts about cancer. I know two people that I know are on here that are now facing a battle, both of them breast cancer. Talk to me about a cosmic approach, a magical approach to healing tired, sick, dying bodies with a new way of thinking.
Okay. And I am up for that challenge.
I'm going
So,
to give you full screen, girl.
oh, beautiful. I get full screen. So, cancer is just like any other disease. It serves a purpose. It is getting a need met in a very unhealthy way. It is showing up in your body in a very specific area of your body. And the area is also important to the message it is giving you. Now, if you think of the mechanism of cancer in your body, it bypasses apoptosis. So it bypasses cell death and normal death and rebirth cycles in the body. Every cell is supposed to actually die, and other ones are supposed to actually come through, and that's the normal process. So what happens in cancer is that it stops that mechanism. It bypasses it, and there's this unlimited growth that happens. It blows through everyone's boundaries. So you're starting to look at how disease is actually giving you a mechanism for what's the metaphor in your life of what's going on. So cancer specifically has to do with putting in new boundaries, understanding and forcing them on all bodies, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritual. And it has to do with the location. So the location of where the cancer goes into is also giving you a message of where it is. Now, that's a lot of meta-medicine. So the disease itself is telling you a message. Now, when we're working with it, we're listening to the unconscious mind. And I really want you to think about this. Does anyone actually think of regulating their blood pressure, their heart rate, their breath? No. It's all done unconsciously for us. Our unconscious mind runs our body. So when I'm working with disease or I'm working with cancer, since I have worked with a few cancer patients, I'm listening to their unconscious mind and I'm speaking directly to it. Now, I program the unconscious mind because it's faster, because all your health programs are on your unconscious mind. So if I'm going to change the body and if I'm going to transmute your health and help you do that process, I need to be working with the right part of your mind. So we go in and rewire the different strategies that are coming up. We find out why this was the way that your unconscious found to be the most effective way to make you listen. Now, I said something very important here. Your unconscious mind only ever does what is effective, not what is healthy, not what's in your best interest. What is the most effective way to get your needs met? So we rewire that pathway, we change that strategy, and I help the body heal in the actual physical body through other modalities. That's how I become integrative.
Wow. So you bring all kinds. Do you use any I would think more traditional integrative things like herbal remedies or yes? Wow. So you're truly integrative.
Yes, I will not put a hand behind my back. And as a naturopathic doctor, I have been trained in numerous different types of medicine. So traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, herbal medicine, clinical nutrition, functional medicine, and the list goes on. I have a lot of them in my background.
And so, I'm thinking, and everyone that's, a fan of Rethink Your Health knows that I always like to share very authentically what I've gone through. But I on some days miss my cancer. And I'm going to put that out in the world because I don't want it back. I don't want that physical challenge. But when when I listened, I'm gonna use Bolen speak. When I listened to my body and traveled the world and spent all of my savings to save my own life, the message that kept coming back was, you've never taken care of yourself, Tanya. You've never set boundaries that allowed you to honor and appreciate your body. um and I can just, I talked to Christiane Northrup at the time because I was fighting fourth-stage uterine cancer, had never had a child, and all of those issues was my body saying, Tanya, you got to deal with this stuff or go start over in another cosmos, either stay in this one or leave. And I made this crazy decision to stay. And my life has never been the same, ever. It's not better. It's not worse. It's amazingly different and far more meaningful. But there are things that I miss of my old life, right? But you can't do it without the heavy lifting. And what you're saying to me, and I've never thought about it so concretely, is that cancer forces your psyche, your spirit, your soul to do heavy lifting.
And it won't just be cancer. It'll be any disease, any of those diseases that make people stop in their tracks and reevaluate their entire life.
Autoimmune diseases, do you treat
All of
those?
them. Yeah. There is every condition under the sun can be treated this way. Every single one of them. And it does
Okay,
not
so I'm a
matter.
skeptic. Tell me what happens. I want, the really cool thing is, I'm just going to say, let's say I'm a patient, and this isn't me, but Well, no, it is me. I'll use me, right? I've had a diagnosis of MS that's gone away. The myelination. They said that the brain's demyelination can never disappear on MRIs. Mine is gone. Third MRI, it's gone. So that's that. There's quantum right there, right? You can change the cells. You can restore them. I've reversed and fought diabetes off and on for 20 years. I have anxiety when sometimes everything is going right. I just assume it's all going to fall apart, and I work myself into, that kind of anxiety mode. Okay, so I'm going to come to you, and I don't have a specific thing right now. I have a whole lot of things, right? But here's what I want. I want peace. I want abundance. And I want to be able to pass those things on to the children in my life that I'm raising. What are you going to do with me?
First of all, I'm going to put you through an intake because you may think that they're all separate. You may think your anxiety is different than your diabetes, which is different than the MS. And they're not. So they're going to have links. They're going to be connected. And the intake is actually designed expertly to bring you down into the unconscious level to find the root in the unconscious mind. Now, everyone thinks the root in health actually has to do with a physical one. There will be a physical root. Though, as I just said, root cause medicine deals with the unconscious mind because it's running your body and your health programs.
And that's where the hypnotherapy comes in. Oh, this is so cool, Liz. I'm getting so excited. Okay.
Yes. So you find the root in the unconscious mind. And then through the actual different modalities that I talked about, the neurolinguistic programming, the timeline therapy, which will help you get rid of all the limiting decisions, the root, all your negative emotions, and that backpack, that emotional backpack you've been carrying around for years, disappears. And then we teach you how to actually, I like to call it being human being. All of the skill sets that we have forgotten in medicine that teach you how to be a functioning human being, like setting boundaries, that emotions, all of your emotions are healthy, bad, good, they're neutral, they're sending you a message. And they're sending you a message through your hormones on a physical way, though they're sending your consciousness a message, and you need to learn to decode the message. So you go through, I call it becoming a human again, and remembering how to do that, with different skill sets and tools. And then we rewire the actual brain, and we take all those strategies and we make it so they can't run again. So a lot of times you hear about Dr. Joe Dispenza or Deepak Chopra and the meditations, which are beautiful. Love them. They're giants in my industry and I respect them. But one of the things that I do that's different than what they do is that they leave two neural network pathways running simultaneously. They have the old pathway and the one that the meditation is looking to build. The old pathway is about a 16-lane highway. It has been going for years, typically the diseased pathway. And then they have this new pathway that has little baby neurons that they're looking to strengthen. What neurolinguistic programming actually does, and hypnotherapy, that it'll take the trigger for the old disease pathway and trigger it into the new pathway. So the disease pathway starts to shrink. And as soon as that trigger that was actually triggering you to be unhealthy will now trigger the new pathway to be built faster.
So this is really good for mental health.
It's good for all types of health.
Okay, we have a question though from Pam Rollins. Can this work with chronic nerve pain?
Yes. There is a pain paradigm specifically, and it works with chronic nerve pain. It can help rebuild actual damaged nerves too.
That's what I think is crazy. Listen, guys that are listening and watching, when we talk about quantum medicine, there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, being poured into quantum medicine around the world. And one of the things that there's a whole area of neurolinguistic research coming out of Johns Hopkins that says we can change ourselves. We can, through reprogramming, become not a heart risk anymore. We can get rid of damaged oh my goodness, pancreatic cells. This is not woo woo. Dr. Liz here is not just, what maybe was perceived of as a hippie healer 20 years ago. This is grounded in real science. And when we talk about this chronic nerve pain, I'm beginning to think, that, and Dr. Alba is a very good friend of mine, Dr. Alba Rodriguez and Dr. Ramon Nunez, and they really talk about retraining your brain to produce new neurological responses to old pain highways and getting rid of them, paving them over with new things. And that's really what's coming across when you talk, Liz. Another question, can this help a person who's had a stroke, which has impacted their short-term memory?
Yes. So because there is neuroplasticity innately in human beings,
Can you talk about what neuroplasticity is?
So neuroplasticity has to do with the brain being able to change its structure.
Woo!
So because we can do this, and this has been documented for decades, that means that we can reprogram our brains and literally build new neural networks. So if there is a part of the brain that has been affected, it just needs different innervation, different blood supplies, all of that from a physical body perspective, which is how the Western medicine is going to approach it. And that's valid. That will have some good effects. Though when you layer it in with why it happened, you learn your lessons as to what you were supposed to actually learn from. Hey, I had a stroke. Let's fix the underlying root. Let's reprogram this health program on top of supporting the physical body. You will see laser fast results and the memory gets to come back. You will literally see changes in the brain structures in MRIs and in CAT scans.
Now, I just want to tell everybody that Dr. Liz is going to be in Orlando. She doesn't know this yet. In June of this year at our Power Up conference, which will have a couple hundred nurses there to learn how to restore their health in order to restore others. And this is, I think, where your real power is, Dr. Liz, is helping those of us that are living and bleeding and striving to find new paradigms to help people rethink their health and get to a better place. And right now, you're literally taking the name of my platform and saying, yep, you can rethink your disease.
You can, and you need to in order to truly heal. This is where we also see cycles in health and relapses, no matter what the condition is. It's because if you haven't changed your brain and the strategies that you were doing in your life and you haven't changed your lifestyle, you're just going to build extra resiliency and strength in your body. And you're going to go back to where you were because you didn't actually learn the lesson you needed to. It's how people start going cyclically versus learning how to actually change their life and get better with it. Mm-hmm. So if you retrain your brain and change the way you think about health and you start to think differently, your body has no other option than to get better and to stay better.
Wow. And I've been reading, and those of you are probably that know me are probably sick of me talking about Tony Robbins' book, Life Force. Tony Robbins in this book talks about the WHO in 2018 made aging a disease, which opened up the whole world to say, if it's a disease, why can't we treat it? And one of the very interesting phenomenons I'm really looking at in this book, and then segueing off into other research at some of the major research centers, Yale, Harvard, which is when you increase neuron activity and communication, stem cell, et cetera, you actually reverse aging. So you can train your brain to stop or delay or reverse advanced aging processes. What do you say about that?
I'm going to say, according to some mystery schools, so I am also part of esoteric teachings. Okay. The human body is designed to last about 150 years as it's currently done. So yes, you can change and you can even reverse some of the aging effects going through. And that's the point. The belief that has been hypnotized into an entire world and generation is that that aging is a disease. B, that aging is inevitable and aging has to happen at a certain rate. So if you believe, and you've hypnotized yourself to believe, that when you are 80, you must look this way, act this way, do these things, because that's what an 80-year-old does, at an unconscious level, that is what will happen.
So we basically hypnotize ourselves to death.
Yes.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about what hypnotism is, because hypnosis has such a bad rap. It's something that people do to make us do things against our will. What is hypnotherapy?
Cancel. So hypnotherapy is 10,000 times more focus. It is direct contact with the unconscious mind. And it's where you actually get to reprogram the fastest way possible all of your behaviors and belief systems. Now, keep in mind, if you change one belief, you will change hundreds of behaviors.
Wow.
So, and in NLP, you can actually change values that you actually put time, money, energy into. You change one value, you change hundreds of beliefs and thousands of behaviors. So, in hypnotherapy specifically, you're learning to actually work and communicate with yourself. You're learning to start a communication pathway between your unconscious mind and your conscious mind. You're learning to start listening to yourself. And what people don't understand is that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. There is no mind control. You will not do something you're uncomfortable with under trance. My favorite thing for stage hypnotherapists is that they screen them very intensely. And if you had 3 shots of tequila, you'd be doing the same thing. Because there is no mind control in hypnotherapy. You are in complete control. And you have 10,000 times more focus on that control. And the human body is in trance about 75 to 80% of the day. So the question,
What does that mean? What does that mean?
it means you're in your theta band, in your theta brainwave. That's how we're healing. That's where we're restoring. And we walk around in trance all the time. When you're driving, you're daydreaming. Most of your day is spent in trance, in your theta brainwave. The rest of it's only spent consciously. This is why change is so much harder, because you're only using 20% of your day to do change work consciously. So you change unconsciously and do that change work, you have 80% of your day to work with it. Now, when you are working with the unconscious mind that way, you are being hypnotized regardless. 80% of your day is out of your awareness. The question isn't, are you being programmed? The question is, how are you being programmed? And what messages are you allowing to come in? Now, hypnotherapy allows you to decipher and to start shielding against unwanted beliefs and starting helping you change that. And especially when that comes to your health, that I am healthy. I will thrive after this, not just survive. I will thrive after this. My body can regenerate itself.
And
Those
that's the coolest thing. I want to stress to everyone that's listening, those of us that are facing cancer, autoimmune, depression, addiction, your body can fix things that are broken. It is that powerful. That's where this whole quantum thing, it's just, it kind of blows you away. It's kind of like the Marvel comics of healthcare, because you can regenerate. You can be an Iron Man. It really is scientifically proven that we can restore cellular health by neurolinguistic programming. That's why I just got so excited when Leanne Meyer, one of my very best friends and nurse influencers and healthcare reform advocates, or I don't want to say reform, healthcare transformation advocates. When she turned me on to Liz, I rolled my eyes and I said, oh no, not another, guru. And then I looked and I saw the science, I saw the education, and I saw the very professional commitment that you have to moving us to a place where we can truly, truly recreate ourselves. And I'm really excited. I'm on the back as you're not just your cheerleader, but I just, can you wave that wand and I can start my hypnosis tonight? And I've been trying, just reading your website. Today I was on the elliptical at the gym and I closed my eyes and I said, every single tendon that's feeling pain, it's time for you to heal. Brain, send that energy. Let's get these cells fixed. Let's not have this in a couple of the next time I'm on this thing. And it actually alleviated the pain. The brain is, for the lack of a better word, it's cosmic, it's universal. It is so unexplored in what it can do. That's what's exciting. So I'm going to go back to you for a second because you said you were going to do an intake, and you can tell how long it would actually do to be an intake of me. But after you did that, what's the next steps? Because I know I'm actually getting texts saying, how do I sign up? And I'm like, okay, let's get a whole picture of what that means.
So you're coming in for a one-on-one. After the intake, you will have more information about what is going on in your body, in your life, in your mind than you've ever had from any other intake. It takes about 2 hours to do this intake. And at that point, I make the assessment of, are you ready to step forward? Which is really, are you willing to redefine your health, redefine you as a human being, and actually overcome and transmute what is going on in your body? And at this point, no is a valid option because some people won't and some people will. At
That's
the
why
end of
some
the day,
people die of cancer and other people miraculously cure. I say this all the time. I had a very good friend, my very best friend ever in my life, got liver cancer at the same time that I got fourth stage cancer. We were always competitive like that. And, she basically would refuse the options that were available to her. And she even said to me about halfway through a very horrible course of chemo, I'm choosing to die. So let's enjoy this. Whoa, right? Me, on the other hand, was like cursing God for this. And yeah, I'm not dying, And I'm not saying that was a better choice, believe me. But I think that we all, when our body, like you said, our unconscious comes to the forefront and says, wait a second, I am boundless and you are setting up boundaries that aren't good for you. So I need your attention now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm back to, we have a plan. You've accepted me as a patient and I'm willing to act on it. So what are some of the actions? What do we do?
So then you go through about a 10-hour process with me. And depending on what I'm working with and what you're coming in with, it'll be 2-hour sessions, 1-hour sessions. You have about 10 hours, give or take, how that is structured. And within those 10 hours, you will go through a very streamlined process where we get rid of all of your emotional baggage, all of the trauma. And that's through the trauma tool called timeline therapy or creating your future processes. It is a quantum modality that actually sheds the unwanted and unwarranted emotional baggage you've been carrying. It takes away all the limiting decisions and limiting beliefs you've been harboring and holding and that are causing the disease. It takes away the limiting belief that you even have a disease.
Yeah, that is so cool, right? Because in quantum science, the
Yes.
power of the nuclear bomb was that there were no more limits,
Yep.
right? Wow. So it's getting to a limitless state of health.
You still have a human body, so there still have boundaries here. And we do work in a physical plane. So it is shifting towards that. Notice we're shifting towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're learning again how to be human. So after you do what I like to call the emotional baggage drop, we then start working on repatterning the strategies that are coming up and the strategy for the disease itself running in your body at an unconscious level. It can no longer run that disease because we've changed it. And then we do cool hypno sessions with you. So we're really putting in the behaviors that are going to keep your health at top peak. and you get to be hypnotized into having those become easy and effortlessly and full of fun and joy, and you enjoy your actual healthcare and you're producing health. That's part of the hypnotherapy sessions in it. And then we actually work through coaching through the entire pieces of it. And then I'll throw in different modalities in there. So depending on what's popping up, you'll have herbal medicine, you may have some supplementations, you may have lifestyle changes. That's where the individualized part of what I do one-on-one comes in. And at the end of it, it's guaranteed in writing that you will be happy, healthy, and wealthy and thriving, and your whole way that's done it throughout that entire process. So in
Oh,
the beginning of it, you sign a contract.
you need your own TV show, girl. So we have covered this is from Pam. We have covered the impact on diseases, but I'm thinking about patients who have undergone organ transplants where they need their bodies to accept the new organ, or perhaps people who have challenges with autism that might benefit from this type of therapy. Is that possible? Can you comment on that?
Yes. So all of it is possible. So the autism specifically, there's a spectrum. You can shift it. You can work with changing behaviors. I will say this, you can never cure someone. I put this in air quotes. That's not legally a thing. You can live asymptomatic. You can be in remission. You can all of those. So you can work with the behavior sets and what's popping up with them through autism. And for organ transplants where they're rejecting it, you can also really work with really cool hypnotherapy scripts and sessions that allow them to be like, this is good for you. You've had surgery. Let's improve your healing. Let's allow you to accept what is good and healthy for you so you can survive. And you can work with that process. You can also help them join in to improving the tissues and all the things that have been cleared. You can work on the scars. There's a whole bunch of things you can do through these actual modalities that no one's talking about. And you can help anyone with almost anything if you are willing to, and the patient is willing to. There's a two-parter there. The patient also must be willing, and you must be willing and have the imagination to go there. With hypnotherapy, the only limit is the hypnotherapists themselves.
I'm not easily flabbergasted, but right now my mind is just pumping, right? My brain is pumping blood and pumping this kind of aha moment. But I guess one of the questions that I have for you, I know that we have a lot of nurses that are in our fold. That's why we're doing the Power Up Nursing Conference this summer. And I know that one of the things that nurses have so proud of, I hear from so many nurses, is I got my Reiki certification. Comment on Reiki as a part and parcel of all of this, because I know many of our listeners really believe that this was a huge advance in healthcare to be able to practice Reiki at the bedside.
So I am a Reiki practitioner on top of my designations. So I do have it. And my mother is a Reiki master.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you brought it up then.
Yeah, Reiki is near and dear to my heart. And it is a channeled medicine. So I will say all healing modalities work and are valid. There is a time and a place for every single healing modality that is there, including drugs and pharmaceuticals. There is a time and a place. All healing modalities work and are valid. One of my superpowers is figuring out where on the healing journey each modality actually comes into play and where to put people. So Reiki in itself is a channeled, energetic healing modality. And you can shift the energetic body or the emotional body, and you will have physical effects and you will have changes in the mental body and definitely have a lot of changes in the spiritual body. Mm-hmm. Now, with Reiki specifically in terms of practitioners, because it is a channeled modality, it requires the channel to expand. So again, the limit to Reiki and that type of energetic modality is the practitioner themselves. So if you want to be able to channel more and heal more, you yourself must grow and become a bigger channel so you can handle more and have deeper levels of healing.
That is really a cool way of looking at this, right? Because if we really are entering this realm of quantic medicine and being able to channel energy, we need to get our blockages removed, right?
Yes.
That just makes absolute sense. And we help each other remove those blockages. And then there are modalities, truly clinical modalities that help us reprogram. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. All right, so let me get to the nitty gritty. So how do you charge by a package? And I hate, and I know that everything is probably different. You probably have an intake fee or something like that. But yeah.
So what I have done in my practice is, and I train other healers to do the same, is I stopped the time for money model and the burnout cycle that way. So yes, I have an intake fee, and the intake fee is really there because if you choose not to move forward, and that's okay. That's a valid choice. Now, if you choose to move forward, the intake fee is actually just put into the package price, and everything's then the package.
And how long is the usual package?
So if you're working with my private practice, it is up to 10 hours. Though I have trained a lot of different healthcare providers that I do funnel who I think would be a better fit than working with me. And I will hand them that. So they offer different packages than I do on top of it. The traditional standard package with the guarantee attached to it is up to 10 hours.
Which is nothing.
No.
I mean, so many of us go into psychotherapy for years.
Yes. And again, psychotherapy is a beautiful modality that serves a purpose, and it brings a lot of awareness that we need, and it's a valid stage of the healing journey.
But it doesn't communicate, right? I think that's what I'm picking up. You can talk and you can get in contact with those feelings, what are emotions that are physical messengers linked to your hormones, blah, blah, blah. But talking isn't there. There's several other steps.
Yes. So there's a thing about talking about it, and there's a thing about changing your life. Talking about it won't change your life. So you have awareness of what's going on, and that's a valid stage. Then there's a then what. I know everything about it. I did the deep dives, and now what? I still have it. And I had high functioning anxiety and complex PTSD growing up.
Oh.
And I got into this field because I went through my own sessions with a coach who was actually in it. And I had done psychotherapy, and it was valuable. I needed to learn all of that. I needed to be brought up into my conscious mind and my awareness. Though I still had it. I still had panic attacks. So I wanted, then what? So then I actually found someone who did the 4 modalities that I now train. And I went through the process for myself. And in the last decade, I haven't had a single panic attack.
And let me ask you this, and that's funny, talk about, cosmic connection. I was going to ask you, what brought you to this? Because, you can make good money training your naturopathic doctor, so was it through your own desire that you got into the integrative, then what aspects?
So my unconscious mind is very loud. I've learned to listen a lot sooner. So I became a naturopathic doctor and was managing my symptoms of the high functioning anxiety and the panic disorders. So when I graduated and I started practicing, all of my naturopathic modalities stopped working. They stopped, and it did not matter what I did. It didn't matter what supplement I took. It didn't matter how much acupuncture I was getting. It stopped. And I had to change my life in a different way. And my unconscious made that very clear. I couldn't manage it anymore. It wanted me to transform it. So I went and searched. I actually searched for hypnotherapy. And I found a coach who did all of the 4. And she guaranteed her results in writing. That's part of the designation process.
That is so cool. I've never had yeah.
So she guaranteed it. And I went, okay, let's do it. What do I have to lose except my anxiety? And less than 10 hours later, I haven't had an anxiety attack since. And she helped me set up my life in a different way so the anxiety could disappear. Because I started to learn to pay attention. I started to become a human being that knew I had needs, was okay with my emotions, set healthy boundaries, changed my physical environment so it was a safe one. All of these things that we pretend don't affect our health, that do.
Wow. Wow. Well, I don't think, I know who our listenership is, and this will, as I tell everybody, you can go to Rethink Your Health, but remember, you are on YouTube and also Spotify and Apple, and you can re-listen to this. But I know that people want to get in touch. So I want to offer them a phone number as well, because lots of us, especially with something as personal and as exciting as what you've presented, I'd like to be able, we have the www Bolen Health Institute on the screen, but what is your phone number, Dr. Liz?
So the phone number that is the fastest to get to me is going to be 647 637 4446.
Let me get this up there.
And please just put a hi, this is.
Yes.
Name.
Yeah. And I heard, hi, this is, and I heard you on the podcast, because,
yes.
That's what we're doing with Rethink Your Health. We are trying to pull together a platform that offers voices that are real, products and services and experiences and travel and conferences. We only live, at least in one consciousness, one time, and we need to broaden that channel with people like Dr. Liz and others, where we can come together. And I know, Dr. Liz, you're doing your work virtually. That is powerful. But as I'm trying to pull together this amazing conference in June with Leanne, do we need a country code for this?
It is 1.
It's 1. Okay. Leanne, it's 1. Pulling together this with Leanne Meyer, RN, once a nurse, and also with Dr. Elba Rodriguez, my pain guru. And I want you there. I want you to not only speak once, but at least twice. I want you to talk about hypnotherapy. I want you to talk about neurolinguistic. Nurses know this intuitively. That's why nurses are so darn good at care, because they go beyond the physical to nurture, to listen to that subconscious. And to have you in a room, I just can't wait for that. But I'll get you those dates and see if we can make that happen. For those of you that are listening and are a nurse or know a nurse, Power Up Nursing, I'm going to put this up too before we get off.com. And come on. Please go on there. You can subscribe to the blog, and the nursing conference is up. There's an early bird fee. It's in Orlando, Florida. So talk about magic, right? So we'll learn how to help people work magic in their bodies to make disease disappear. I just love that. And even if the disease is still there, like I still have my disc in my back shoved into the nerves of my spine. That didn't change, but the pain's gone. So who cares, right? So I just love you, Dr. Liz. And I am so excited about getting people that have listened and who will listen and watch us to get in touch, to get that number. I'm going to put it up one more time before we sign off. And then I am going to ask you, because I know you can do this, because your soul is craving it, I'm asking you to sign us out with a message to the healthcare providers and the consumers in need of more vibrant health and youthfulness. Give us a message. And I'm going to get off the screen and then I'm going to end the broadcast. But personally, I want to thank you. I can feel your energy from Canada in my own life right now, and I'm sure others can. So your message of a minute will take us out. Everyone, thanks for being here. Our next show will be next week, and oddly enough, it's a very nice segue into the healing modalities of oils, aromatherapy, crystals, along with lots of other cool stuff. So in any event, thank you again, Dr. Liz, and the screen is all yours.
So, hi, everyone. I want you to stop telling yourself that you are broken and that you're powerless or unlovable or unworthy. And I want you to listen. Listen. to me. You are powerful. You are so loved. You are more than enough. And you are not broken. You have an unconscious strategy that's running, getting a need met. It's not as hard as you're making it, I promise. All you have to do is get that need met in a healthy way. That's it. As long as you actually get that need met, you get to transform your life. And I'm here to guide you either by teaching you how to do that for others or for helping you do it yourself. Remember that you are more powerful than you ever thought were possible. All you have to do is keep telling yourself that and reach out for help from people who can help you at a deep unconscious level. And I'm sending you all so much love because that's part of what really power comes from, is from sending love and showing people that they have more than they think they do. And health is significantly simpler than we make it. Thank you so much. I have the screen.